everyone, welcome or welcome back to Higher Max. I hope you are all doing really well today. As usual, I'm very excited to be filming this review for you. As you can tell from the title of the video, we will be discussing Fate, the WINX Club Saga. I surprisingly enjoyed this live action version of WINX, but I have a major disclaimer. If you want to know more about my thoughts, the ways that it was very successful and other ways that it was let down, please continue watching and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the socials, my personal one down here below, and my second page called Confessions of a Black Girl, which is a space for Black girls, women, and femmes to feel celebrated and vulnerable. I really did enjoy this WINX Club. As someone who loves a good supernatural show, it's been a minute. There was a point in time where we had TVD, originals, Teen Wolf, so forth. So it's been a minute since I've been watching a supernatural show, and I'm too much of a scaredy cat to watch Sabrina. So it's something that I've been really interested in watching. Now, I have 2 ratings for this show. If you are someone who just likes a good supernatural show and is not heavily invested in the original WINX Club, I would give this show a good 8, almost 9 out of 10. You are someone who was heavily invested in the original WINX Club, I'm going to say you're going to give this show like a 6. This is why. The base premise of the show, which is Bloom, who is an Earth girl, goes to Althea, which is a school for fairies. That premise kind of stays the same. That's pretty much what I would say stayed the same. But there are a lot of things that changed, and even before the show came out, there was a lot of critiques about it. Let's talk about some of the critiques I had for the show in comparison to the original, and then talk about some of the things I did enjoy, as well as some of the main plots that we just need to discuss. There's things to discuss such as the whitewashing, the changing of characters, some of the different plot lines. I am someone who used to watch WINX Club as a kid. I wasn't as invested in it later on, but I still remember the original show and some of the themes that I appreciated and the characters I appreciated. That made this a bit challenging at times. When I first watched it, I was like, you know what, Maxine, just think of this the way that I believe that people who watch maybe Riverdale in comparison to the Archie comics, or how people watch Sabrina in comparison to the original Sabrina the Teenage Witch, that's the type of mindset you need to have going into this to fully enjoy it. Else, if you're continuously comparing it to the original, you're gonna be let down. Let's first talk about some of the character differences, such as the fact that Aisha, who in the animation was a princess, this time is not a princess, and she's just a regular girl, apart from the fact that she has magic powers. She doesn't join the WINX Club later. She actually is part of the WINX Club from the get-go because they're all roommates. Then Musa is no longer a fairy of music. She is now a fairy of mind. The biggest cause of uproar before the show came out was the fact that the character who is played by Flora, who I believe is a Latina girl. Also, as I'm watching this, I'm realizing that I forgot to mention that Musa was also whitewashed, and she was originally an Asian girl on the original show. However, if I remember correctly, in the pilot, Tara talks about some other people in her family, and I believe the name Flora is mentioned, but it's not. What are the chances that Flora would be a person of color? Also, I understand why that could be disappointing, because WINX was a racially diverse group of girls, and even though I think it was positive to have size inclusivity, I believe that could also still be done with women of color. The thing that I think is disappointing about whitewashing in a lot of films or series is the fact that you already don't have a lot of mainstream, whether it's animations, books, TV shows, or films that show people of color in lead roles. So I think that for people of color, like, when those opportunities are taken away, it hurts a bit more. So no Tekna, there is no Tekna, no explanation for why there is no Tekna. And if you don't know who Tekna is, she is the fairy of technology, and she was part of the original WINX Club. I do not know if this means we're gonna get her in another season, or because you know what, something I found weird, this first season or maybe half a season, was only 6 episodes. They owe us so many more episodes because there's so many things I still want to know. They owe us 6 more episodes because, no guys, what happened to the days? What happened to the days when a season was 23 episodes? And I'm talking about you, Vampire Diaries. I'm talking about you. I miss the days when a season was 23 episodes. And then you know what? People fell back to 21. And then it became 10. Game of Thrones was one of the first shows I watched. They also had hour-long episodes. Now we're down to 6. Like, Netflix, please listen to me. As a devout binger of shows, please do not subject people like me to only 6 episodes in a season. If we do not get another WINX CLUB season sometime at the end of this year, I'm gonna be hurt, because that really should just be a mid-season finale and not the full season. We need more content. They had such few episodes, there's so much room for newer characters to be introduced, but I feel as if I'm not gonna give up hope. I think Tekna is coming. Remember we had the Tricks in the original? There is no longer the Tricks, there's just Beatrix. I think it was a cute play on words, and I also think, you know, subtle changes like that make sense to me, where it's like, okay, they can't have like the 3, not that they can't, but they decided not to have the 3, but then having her be called Beatrix, like that makes sense. The whitewashing, that was a huge point of contention. There was also the lack of just the fashion, the aesthetic. You might be like, why is this girl wearing pink on pink on pink on pink on pink? This is not even my usual getup. I just have to bring my little baby fat out for a minute, because what happened to the fashion? What happened to the aesthetic? What happened to the girls doing what they need to do? Something that's interesting to me is all of these live action reboots or whatever of these original shows are so dark. And I feel like you can be dark but have fashion. They're fairy, for goodness sake. They're supposed to be like, I don't know, I just feel like they just needed to bring it. Like, it would be so cool if there was that juxtaposition of really gloomy town that they live in, but just the outfits are serving constantly. And now I feel like because the aesthetic has been set, it is not likely that things are gonna change. I was expecting looks. They all each individually wearing their colors, but just not like, it doesn't, I'm not like, oh my goodness, what is she wearing in episode 5, scene 2? And I wanted that for us. We can always introduce new characters into new seasons, but we can't choose a new aesthetic. So no WINX. Now, I know a lot of people were upset about this. I was not. And I think the only reason why I was not is because a lot of TV shows can't keep up CGI-wise the way that films can. Obviously, because I think the budgets are usually bigger, especially for blockbuster films. So I just can't imagine that if they were to have WINX, for it to look good enough that it wouldn't distract me. Because that's just me. I know some people are unhappy with it. I'm fine that they didn't have WINX. And let's talk about the cast. There's Bloom, and she's a fire fairy. She is the HBIC low-key of the group. She came from Earth, did not know anything about the fairy world, and this is literally us following her along her journey. I'm going to tell you, I've spoken about the main cast, why she gives me Elena vibes and why I low-key don't like Bloom. Aisha, she is a water fairy. Well, that's her natural element, and she is you can tell, straight A student, sporty, sociable, kind of like the overachiever of the group and well-informed about everything. I do want to highlight the fact that a beautiful, darker skinned black girl, because a lot of the times I have noticed, I hope you have noticed too, that TV shows can be colorist when they are choosing black women to partake in the show. Terra, Earth Fairy, and she is very knowledgeable. You know what? I feel like even though Terra can be a bit extra, I think she's very underestimated in this live action series. I think she's really underestimated because this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen, I'm gonna put spoiler in the corner until I'm done talking about it and you can mute me. But when Silva gets bitten or cut by the burned one, she was so composed, she was so ready to handle it that I'm like, y'all really underestimate my girl Terra. You underestimate her because actually she knows what she's doing. Full-figured woman myself. will there ever be a show where a full-figured woman, plus-size woman, is not deeply insecure? I understand that fat phobia is part of society and can make it very hard to exist as a larger body, but is it really in every single piece of literature? Does it always have to be that she is deeply insecure in herself? Also, don't want for Tara, when her self-esteem grows, I don't want it to be because of a man. I'm hoping that she feels more secure in herself because of herself and not because a man told her that she's beautiful, because I mean she is, but do you know what I mean? Like, Musa, I really liked her. I think she's actually one of my favorite in the WINX currently because I just like her vibe. She is, as I said, a mind fairy, her own business, just out here, not trying to get involved in things, but when it's time for you to have her around, she always pulls through. I can say the same thing with Aisha. Aisha also, when you need Aisha, she's always there. Stella, our dear princess, we see her character development, and I'm not surprised that she's an evil because her mom is a horrible person. Didn't care about her, just cares about the throne. I empathize with her a little, and she is a light fairy. Then there's Sky, Mr. the campus, Stella's ex-boyfriend, and he's just kind of like the boy next door. He's actually kind of genuine and a really good guy. He's caught up in a mess between him and Stella. Are they, aren't they? And obviously him and Blooms, are they, aren't they? I don't think he has any power. Like in this show, I don't think he has any powers. He's just a warrior. That's what I'm guessing. He's just a warrior. Best friend Rivers, bad boy, always up to mess. But I think his heart is typically in the right place until the end, but his heart is typically in the right place. I'm about to get into some spoilers, so if you haven't watched the series, stop watching now. One of the things I wanted to talk about, which is why Bloom reminds me of Elena, and I mean Elena Gilbert from The Vampire Diaries. What I did not like about Bloom is a at all costs kind of person, where I don't care who I hurt, I don't care what I have to go through, my way or the highway. I do understand if you found out that your parents weren't your parents and you found out you were some magical fairy, you don't know where you're from, I can understand that need for closure, that need to be inquisitive, or that need to want to find information. But the way she was willing to literally put everyone in the school at risk makes her so off-putting to me. It reminds me of Elena Gilbert because of how many people had to die for her in The Vampire Diaries. That's the type of vibe she's giving me. Literally, we had all the burned ones on campus. You literally almost got people killed on campus. Literally can see that Rosalind is in the deepest of the deepest prisons, inside a prison, inside a, what is that thing called with the blue lights? Like, she is inside, and you think, oh, I'm just gonna go ask her some questions, and you think that nothing is gonna come out of it. Why would you think that? Obviously they put her away for a reason. And I'm so glad Aisha told on them. I don't know why they were mad with Aisha. Aisha was right to tell them because actually you've lost your mind. And then you take her to the power source of the school. First of all, Bloom, you do not know anything about the magical universe. So you shouldn't be doing things that are shady because you do not know how the balance of stuff works. You just watch this woman suck up power and you're like, oh, what are you doing? You're just recharging and you're just being chill, when she literally messed Sky all the way up. Even when she drugged Sky and she was like, oh, Dane said that this was okay. You don't even know. What if Sky was allergic to the drug you gave him? But just everything at all costs. I want to talk a bit about what we can expect in season 2, or if it's the next half of this season, whatever, because 6 episodes is not enough. And as I said, I really enjoyed it, so I kind of want to watch more. So we can see Rosalind and Sky's dad is back. Seems like mess. Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Professor Umbridge took over Hogwarts, and the place literally became a lockdown, you can't do anything with your life zone. I feel like that's what's gonna happen to Althea. Rosalind is unhinged. Rosalind, did you kill her? Did you just make her unconscious? The leaves took Miss Dowling, Headmistress Dowling. So now I'm kind of stressed. Does that mean we don't have Headmistress Dowling? I'm saying even like with the wings that Bloom had at that one point, it was like, I don't want to see that the whole time. Like there was a cute 5-minute session and then we don't have to see the wings again. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. I would love to hear from people who watched the original WINX and from people who haven't, and tell me what you think, because I both love it and also see some of its shortcomings. But for the most part, I will be watching season 2 and the seasons come out after that, and let me know your thoughts. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow the socials, my personal one and my second page called Confessions of a Black Girl. Also, do not forget to hit the bell below so you know whenever I upload a video, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon with another video. Goodbye.